Dude, the thing is, what the main thing is with Source 2 that I'm excited about. Number one, it's new, and then what I've heard behind the scenes from people.
Valve remains quiet, no surprise there, but a number of things have happened or have been discovered over the last few weeks to suggest that CSGO could be getting a big update very soon. Now we're hoping this will be some kind of rebranded Source 2 overhaul. Source 2's biggest problem is itself. You only have to read through Half-Life Alyx the final hours to know its incomplete state was at least partially responsible for killing projects like Left 4 Dead 3 and new attempts to make a Half-Life game. With that being said, in 2015, Dota 2 moved over to the Source 2 engine, although I think the impact this had on the players of that game was probably less than you might have expected. But in 2020, almost 3 years ago now, Source 2 proved itself finished enough to handle a modern new game, with that game being Half-Life Alyx. The question now is, what has Valve been working on since? Does it involve CSGO? And will it look nice? On February the 27th, Valve changed their Twitter account's banner picture. I made a whole video covering this exciting revelation and why people thought it could mean something, which you can check out in this video's cards. On March the 1st, and exactly a month before April the 1st, Gabe Follower on Twitter pointed out that the latest NVIDIA drivers introduced support for unknown apps called csgo s2 and
I feel like these had to be planned leaks. That's just me, though.
cs2. If you own an NVIDIA graphics card, you can see this for yourself by going to the control panel and by doing this. Sandwiched between costume...
Hey, anybody who's played it is not going to say anything. They're under an NDA. They'll get in fucking huge trouble if they say shit.
Quest and Crab Game, you'll find all the Counter-Strike games listed, including the fairly new editions of CSGO Source 2 and Counter-Strike 2. Check out Gabe Follower's video about it, again in this video's cards, for a lot more evidence that this isn't just nothing and why he believes it indicates that a Source 2 version of CSGO is incoming. Now, the NVIDIA driver update likely happened sometime before March, it's just that it went unannounced.
Trust me, Source 2 is coming out. I know 100% it's coming out, guys.
And took a while to find. Equally, on March the 1st, it was discovered that Valve had recently set up a TikTok account. Since then, the community has been hyped for every new tidbit of information they can get, and API leaks keep coming, hinting that other stuff is also going to change, like this one suggesting that Valve has paid money for the Tuscan map, a map I covered just before its release, which you'll find in
Finally.
this video's cards here. So presumably, this will be coming to the game at some point as well. On March the 5th, Richard Lewis put his reputation on the line again by writing an article about this, stating that it is likely to be released under the working title of Counter-Strike 2. This project has been a priority for Valve's team, and them being busy with this is probably why I've had so few patch notes to read. The article's anonymous source, or two, says that it's about ready to go, that it's right around the corner, and that the beta's release date is in the month of March and, oh no, April 1st is mentioned again. It even says that a bunch of pro players were flown out to Valve's headquarters in secret to test it. Following this blog post, poor Carrigan was put on the spot and cruelly interrogated about the stuff he either didn't know about or couldn't talk about.
Is it because you're so excited about Source 2?
I can actually not speak about anything Counter-Strike related.
Oh, you've been to Seattle recently, have you?
Either way, we got nothing, which tells us everything. Richard Lewis's article touches upon a couple
It's
of
100% being
points as
released,
well.
guys.
The first was the mention of 128 tick servers and how they would also be coming to this new Counter-Strike beta. What's curious about this is that over on Twitter, Gabe Follower doesn't think that 128 tick servers are coming, but that it will instead be some kind of new sub-tick system, which he speculates could vary the tick rate depending on what's going on.
I don't know who this guy is, but I would almost guarantee you that there's going to be 128 tick rate servers. Like, there's no way it's going to be 64.
This doesn't mean that Richard Lewis's 128 tick claim is wrong, for this new system could still be variable but with a maximum cap of 128 updates a second, so they could both be right. Or, a third possibility, they're both wrong. I reached out to somebody else for a third perspective and they gave me a third option, being that the tick system might not even be referring to communication between client and server, warning about how much it would break everything if it was referring to that. And then they ended by saying that when this update hits, whatever it is, people will likely be left disappointed. Isn't that the truth? But this third perspective has a good point, because it's a big mistake to expect miracles from a new system. Boarding the hype train feels great, but at some point you have to step off again. But let's throw caution to the wind for now and assume that we will be getting some magical variable tick rate system. What will this be good for? This is gameplay from CSGO. It looks smooth, but how it's communicated to the game server is anything but. I can enable this information, and this is more like the information that's being sent to and from the server. Each of these is a position and direction the character was looking at a particular moment in time, and information like this is relayed to and from the server 64 times a second, hence 64 tick server. The argument is that 128 tick would be better because then there would be double the number of these. But a variable system would argue that you don't always need 128. How many you need varies depending on the situation, I think. It's all speculation at this point. Because if I'm honest, NetReg is a very complicated topic that I barely understand the basics of. It involves time travel. Yet even I can see the benefits of a variable system. For instance, some newer phone screens already vary their update rate because you don't need 120 refreshes a second when you're simply reading something on Reddit, or when you're watching a 60 FPS video on YouTube, like this one. So it's far better for your phone to drop to a lower frame rate and to save on battery life. Hell, even your computer screen may have some kind of variable update feature because it makes sense to update when it gets new information instead of just regularly updating 120 times a second or whenever, even when nothing is going on. So likewise, a variable tick rate system in Richard Lewis's article also discusses a much improved matchmaking system that is hoped would make the need for third-party pugging services unnecessary. Now I'm going to ask, who hopes this? Valve as a company has historically embraced third parties doing the work for them. Nothing about how this better matchmaking system will be achieved is mentioned in the article, other than the possible 128 tick idea.
The main thing is the 128 tick, obviously, but just hopefully, even if they do like a shitty ranking system, just like a decent ranking system where you can, like leaderboards, if they could even do a leaderboard thing, people will play it. If there's no leaderboard, then people will probably still play Face It once they hit the highest level in MM. I'm sure the NEG is going to be better. But I'd like to be added. Dude, the thing is, what the main thing is with Source 2 that I'm excited about, number one, it's new. And then what I've heard behind the scenes from people who have tested is it's just the things that are going to be there. Certain things are going to stay in the game that you're going to like. And there's going to be certain things about maps and stuff like that that are changing that people are also going to like. And to me, the new part of it, it's just going to be fresh. It's just going to be a fresh CS, and I think everyone's most likely going to be happy about it. But that's like the main thing I could talk about. Yeah, I heard it's going to be, the skill gap's better, it's going to be crisp, just a lot of things about it.
Yeah, bro.
Camera, you like my Steam pick, dude? I know Camera loves my Steam pick, dude.
Bro, I just love you, bro.
That's me.
I know you committed to letting you die.
I know, he didn't even...
No armor.
He didn't even say anything. Oh, watch out. Careful, bro.
What? He threw?
Alright. What? I didn't know he was.
What's Deuce in America? No,
Yo,
it's
Westy, why do you never buy a helmet?
Oh, I didn't have a helmet? Oh. I thought I bought a helmet.
Lasky is just asking to get dick down.
Shut
Bro,
up.
this is why he dies the USP second round, because he doesn't buy helmets.
That moss?
You're from Muffy?
The famous.
I'm gonna go hit this round. I have a good spawn.
Yeah.
I don't know about skins. Sure it's safe though, brother.